What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. It looks like we have some rather interesting news coming out of Hollywood. Apparently, Black Widow has a new enemy, Walt Disney. Scarlett Johansson, star of the latest Marvel movie, Black Widow, filed a lawsuit Thursday in the Los Angeles Superior Court against Disney, alleging her contract was breached when the media giant released the film on its Disney Plus streaming service at the same time as its theatrical debut. Ms. Johansson said in the suit that her agreement with Disney's Marvel Entertainment guaranteed an exclusive theatrical release, and her salary was based in large part on the box performance of the film. Disney intentionally induced Marvel's breach of agreement without justification in order to prevent Johansson from realizing the full benefit of her bargain with Marvel, this suit said. So what it sounds like is Scarlett Johansson is suing Walt Disney because they released Black Widow both in theaters and on Disney Plus at the same time. And because her contract is giving her benefits only for the box office, she receives no kickbacks from the sales of the movie on the streaming site. So they go on to say, according to the complaint, Ms. Johansson's representative sought to renegotiate her contract after learning of the dual release strategy for Black Widow, which she said is her 9th and last movie. Disney and Marvel were unresponsive, the suit said. The decision to put movie on Disney Plus is projected to cost Ms. Johansson more than $50 million, a person familiar with the details of her contract claimed. $50 million is kind of a lot of money. For anybody, that's a lot of money. For a multimillionaire like Scarlett Johansson, that's a lot of money. Like, that's a ridiculous amount of money. It's not chump change that she's, quibbling about. And they continue by saying, even before the pandemic, Ms. Johansson was concerned that Black Widow could end up on Disney Plus as part of its wide release. In 2019, Ms. Johansson's representatives reached out to Marvel seeking assurance that Black Widow would have a theatrical-only release, according to the complaint. In a March 2019 email included in the suit, Marvel chief counsel gave Dave Galuzzi, I apologize if I butchered that, I probably did, said the release would be according to a traditional theatrical model, adding, "We understand that should the plan change, we need to discuss this with you and come to an understanding, as the deal is based on a series of very large box office bonuses." So it sounds like Mr. Johansson and her team did their due diligence when they, thought that this could be released, Black Widow could be released on Disney Plus. They reached out to the company and said, "Hey, what's this about?" And the company said no, they're not planning on releasing it, and that they would be willing to renegotiate with her if they decided to change their mind and release Black Widow on Disney Plus. But it seems like they did not do that, went back on their word. Of course, this is just a verbal agreement, not a contract, and as far as I can tell, the agreement where they said they would renegotiate with Scarlett Johansson. Now, of course, as a result of this lawsuit, the Walt Disney Company has issued an official statement. Here it is. "There is no merit whatsoever to this filing. The lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Disney has fully complied with Ms. Johansson's contract, and furthermore, the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus with Premier Access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date." Okay, so let's break this down because there's a few different sections here that they're saying. So the first part, there is no merit whatsoever to this filing. The lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. So what they're really doing here is, at least to me, is it sounds like they're besmirching her, Scarlett Johansson, by saying that she's being stingy, selfish, greedy, and unsympathetic to how COVID-19 has affected the world and everyone else, insinuating that she's some type of Mr. Scrooge or Miss Scrooge in this case. And they go on to say that Disney has fully complied with Ms. Johansson's contract, which, so far as I can tell, is true, unless that agreement that we talked about earlier where they said they would discuss a change, renegotiating her contract. But insofar as I can tell, that was just a verbal agreement, not a written contract. Not a written agreement, right? So far as I can tell, that part is true. And then they go on by saying, and furthermore, the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus with Premier Access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date. So in this part, they're saying that releasing on Disney Plus has given her more money or enhanced the ability, as they put it, which I don't have her contract in front of me, so I'm not sure, but so far as I can tell is what she alleges is that she only gets bonuses for the box office numbers, not the Disney Plus sales. Okay, not the money that they get from selling the Black Widow on Disney Plus. And then they finish the statement by saying that on top of the $20 million she has received to date. So it seems to me that they're trying to, I don't know, like shame her or something for the money she's already made. Like they said, like in the first part, it goes back to the first part of the statement, just trying to shame her for like, hey, look at all this money you've already made. You've already made $20 million. Why are you trying to get more? Which is, you know, I guess sort of a valid argument, but supposedly you're cucking her out of $50 million. Okay. That's more than double of what she's made so far. Okay. So that's significant. Okay. Just imagine if, you know, your company took away like 2/3 of your paycheck. So if you made like say $100,000 and they took away 60, almost 70,000 of that, you wouldn't be happy. I guarantee it. So it just seems to me that Disney has stooped kind of to a new all-time low for them. Maybe not an all-time low, but just casting aspersions on her like that just seems kind of despicable and libelous even. Now, of course, Scarlett Johansson was not about to take this. So she responded, or her team responded by saying they, referring to Disney, have shamelessly and falsely accused Ms. Johansson of being insensitive to the global COVID pandemic in an attempt to make her appear to be someone they, and I know she isn't. Disney's direct attack on her character and all else they implied is beneath the company that many of us in the creative community have worked with successfully for decades. Now, as we all know, Disney isn't exactly the most virtuous of corporations, and you could say that about many corporations, but Disney in particular. But yeah, as I said earlier, it looks like they've stooped to a new low, just insulting her like this, trying to besmirch her reputation, and her as Scarlett Johansson. And her team continues by saying the company included her salary in their press statement in an attempt to weaponize her success as an artist and businesswoman as if that were something she should be ashamed of. Scarlett is extremely proud of the work that she and all of the actors, writers, directors, producers, and Marvel creative team have been a part of for well over a decade. So yeah, that's what it appeared to me too, is just by trying to shame her for making so much money when I guess other people can't make that much money. But again, coming from a multi-billion-dollar company that's trying to cheat her out of, I don't know if it's technically cheating, but what they're doing is definitely shady. But regardless, I'll use trying to cheat her out of $50 million. Okay, that's just a little bit hypocritical, I would think. And it doesn't appear that Disney's going to be out of the woods anytime soon, because reports also claim Emma Stone of Cruella, which received the same kind of release earlier this year, as in Disney Plus and theatrical release at the same time, is now weighing her own legal options in the wake of Johansson's suit. So it seems to me that this dual release situation thing, while initially a very lucrative idea, it sounded like, it appears to me that their lawyers did not do their own due diligence, and seeing as how it would play into the contracts of their actors, so it may end up costing them millions and millions of dollars, at least. But I guess that all remains to be seen, but all I know is Disney has a lot more trouble coming their way. But with that being said, guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.